Hello everyone, welcome to the first session of chemistry. The goal for today's class is to solve good quality 5 questions from the entire chemistry domain, whatever we have done throughout the year. So we have covered the chapters at least twice. We have done a lot of assignments, NCRT exemplar and different books as well. That's one thing. Now going ahead till the final exams, our goal should be to solve mixed questions as well. So all these videos that you see frequently coming forward, you will see 5, 6 questions that are spread from the entire syllabus of chemistry. So it's not only that the chapter 4 or chapter 3 matters, even the chapter 1 would have a lot of significance in your final exams, unlike what happened in class 8. So we have to be sure that we are coming out of comfort zone. We are solving all these random questions and spending a lot of good quality time on these things. So what you have to do is, once I share the screen, you have to just look at the questions, pause the video, spend around 10-15 minutes, give your best, and then only resume the video from there. Now, even if you have got a question right, you still have to look at the solution, which I am telling purely because it's about the thought process. It's not only about the correct answer, but how I would be connecting the topics, connecting the dots from here and there, so that you realize that everything is connected first of all, and also it is getting revised again and again. So for example, if I talk about valency in a question, so it's not valency that will matter, it's about the electronic configuration, number of electrons, protons, atomic mass, atomic number, and hence coming to the conclusion that an element will be a metal or non-metal. So many things are very much connected. So metals and non-metals are not important in one chapter but the entire chemistry domain. This is how we'll have to approach such things. Second thing, whatever videos you see, you have to be very consistent. Complete the video once you start it, and then you will realize after a few classes that you are actually able to build upon the concepts that are already strong. And also parallelly, you will have to realize what are the weak areas. So just keep noting what are the topics or what are the questions are. And after a few classes, you can even get in touch with me and let me know that you could not solve these questions in one go, or these are the topics that are still troubling you. We'll find a way to figure out such things. All right, now you have the list of questions in front of you. I'll just scroll down. You will have to pause the video here, solve all the questions, and then I'll tell the solutions. All right, let's begin with the solutions now. Question number 1, it's all about Bohr's model. So first of all, you have to realize each and everything that's mentioned in the Bohr's model. Looking at the diagram, looking at the question, the most important thing to realize is the rules relating to the number of electrons that can be filled in a particular shell. So except for the first shell, you can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons in the ongoing shells. That's in practical. So since we see only 2 shells here, we'll talk about the first 2 shells. 2,8 is the maximum that you can achieve. So anything that deviates from this concept will likely be wrong as per the question. So if I talk about the first diagram, there are only 2 electrons in this. And in fact, if you just have a look at all those 4 diagrams, clearly you can see the second diagram is one, jisme there are 4 electrons. So it can be straight away ruled out. While we also go to the second shell, if you realize it, the second shell, they have done well, they have filled up 8 electrons, but there is no possibility that you can have 4 electrons in the first shell. So this is definitely wrong. So first shell comparison पे एक rule out हो गया. कई बार ऐसा होगा. Then you have to come to the second shell. You have 6 electrons, that's perfectly fine. Again, you have 7 electrons. Anything less than or equal to 8 is perfectly fine for the second shell. So it's this diagram that creates a lot of problems. If you see in the second shell, there are 10 electrons. There is absolutely no way that a shell can accommodate such number of electrons. And there is a reason for it as well. We have to connect the dots. Remember, I told you in the class that why there is a limit for number of electrons and why are they always symmetrically, traveling there. So I'll just show you in the first image, you see almost symmetrically, almost equal distances, not that 5 electrons will be stuck together and 1 electron will be moving away. It's not going to happen. Almost equal distances are there to maintain such that not of repulsion is not there. We have to realize that all these are like charges, all these are negative charges, so they will repel each other, and hence Once we draw these diagrams, we have to make sure that we are maintaining such optimum distance, which will happen in real life as well. So that is one reason why Bohr discovered practically that anything more than 8 is going to create vibrations, and hence the shell will become unstable. Because of vibrations, it will affect the atom as a whole. Even it will have an effect on the nucleus. So the entire atom will not be stable. It will keep vibrating. And if it is one atom, it can be millions and billions of atoms. The universe is made up of atoms, and hence the entire universe will keep shaking every moment. Just like earthquake is a rare occurrence, just imagine earthquake her moment every second is right there, which you can feel. So that is what could have happened, but we have to go by the logic, and hence we see 2 and 4 are the wrong answers. So as per the options that we have, I'll go with C option, which is the correct. Now, assertion reason based questions, a lot of these questions we have solved in the class. Uh, these questions should come in your final exams. A couple of questions, maybe not more, but they will truly test the logic and the basics, the fundamentals that you have built throughout the year. Now, if we talk about isotopes, first of all, isotopes अगर यहाँ पे word आ रहा है तो पहले तो revise कर लेते हैं. Isotopes होते क्या हैं? So if I take an element X, उसको मैं represent करता हूँ Z at the bottom, A at the top. A is the atomic mass and Z is the atomic number. What do we exactly mean by atomic number? Number of protons or number of electrons. Equal होंगे ये दोनों अगर वो atomic state में obviously. And atomic mass जो है वो दो चीजों पे depend करता है, the protons and the neutrons. Definitely not the electrons, because electrons are almost zero in mass. So theoretically, we can just say that they are zero in mass. They will not contribute to the mass of the atom, and hence there is no role in the atomic mass. The formula is very much logical in that way. Now, if I talk about isotopes being electrically neutral, isotopes are atoms itself. So atoms होंगे, it's just that their tops are different. That means masses are different. जैसे हम chlorine की बात करते हैं, if you pick up the few samples of chlorine, you would realize that some of them will have 35 as the mass, some of them will have 37 as the mass. That's it. There's no other difference. What matters is the atomic number, which is the bottom, remains the same for both of them. And since atomic number is same, I can simply say protons and electrons are equal and same for both of these. जब भी प्रोटॉन्स और इलेक्ट्रॉन्स इक्वल होते हैं, इन दोनों का ही चार्ज होता है एक एटम में, एक पॉजिटिव चार्ज एक नेगेटिव चार्ज. सिंस दे आर इक्वल, they will just nullify the effect of each other, and hence definitely they will make the atom electrically neutral. So after a lot of analysis, we say that this is a true statement. Now, isotopes are species with same mass number but different atomic number. What we have discussed a lot, we clearly see there is a loophole in this statement. It's not exactly the same mass number. In fact, it is the reverse. Mass number different होता है. How do we remember? Isotopes के top जो है वो same नहीं होते हैं, और top पे हम क्या लिखते हैं? Mass number. So clearly this is a wrong statement, a false statement. As per the options given above, C is the perfect fit here. Now, third question. Now, this is based on the first chapter. A lot of time we have invested in the first chapter as well earlier. So liquids diffuse less easily as compared to gases. This is something that a 7th class student can also tell, but the exact reason should be there in our minds. This is a true statement, nothing too much concrete. Intermolecular forces are greater in gases. So this seems to be false, and the reason is that in gases, the particles that we talk about, the atoms, are very loosely packed, a lot of space they have in between them. And since there is a lot of space, they will not really have force being applied between them. बहुत negligible kind of force होगी. That is one reason why these particles will move freely here and there. 360 degree की movement होगी. For example, अगर हम air की बात करें, which is a mixture of gases itself, why air travels so freely? There is no restrictions in the travel of air, simply because the particles are so very much spread away that उनके बीच में कोई obstruction नहीं create होती है. इसका example हमने class में कैसे discuss किया था कि if you have a very big place and just a few people are sitting there. So let's say if you have a theater, movie hall, like these days, a very big movie hall, and only 5-6 people sitting there. So all of them will relax. There is no problem. कोई किसी को suffocation feel नहीं होगी. अब यही लिक्विड है तो थोड़े से पार्टिकल्स ऐड कर देते हैं, लेट्स से 20 पार्टिकल्स हो जाएंगे टोटल, और यही अगर सॉलिड है तो इट विल बी ऑलमोस्ट टोटली पैक्ड। सो फुल हाउस जब होगा तो वो सॉलिड बन जाएगा। अगेन C option is the correct one here simply because the reason is a false statement. ये दोनों questions easy निकले। Now if we talk about these incorrect matches kind of questions, N2O4, हमने क्रिस क्रॉस मेथड में ये पढ़ा था कि नॉर्मली हम जब भी एक कंपाउंड बनाते हैं so we would rather simplify the numbers just like it happens in maths. अगर maths में you have an answer to 2.4, it will always be better to make it 1/2. So that is exactly what we do in the crisscross method as well. यहाँ पे ideally it should be NO2, but even if we write N2O4, it's not wrong to say such a thing. अब इसका नेम कैसे दिया जा सकता है? नाइट्रोजन के दे रहा है 2 atoms, so di is the perfect word here. Oxygen के 4 atoms, tetra is the perfect word here. So tetra is for 4, tetraoxide, dinitrogen. So बिल्कुल correct meaning है, correct statement है ये. HCl is hydrochloric acid by the way, but इसको हाइड्रोजन क्लोराइड भी बोल सकते हैं if we go by the name. Perfectly fine. So यहाँ तक बिल्कुल ठीक लग रहा है। CO में सिर्फ ऑक्सीजन का एक ही एटम है। जहां भी ऑक्सीजन की बात होती है ना, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द नंबर ऑफ एटम्स, उसका नेम थोड़ा सा चेंज होता है। जैसे फर्स्ट केस में टेट्रा ऑक्साइड हो रहा था बिकॉज देयर वर 4 एटम्स, यहाँ पे 1 है तो मोनो ऑक्साइड होगा। डाई ऑक्साइड का मतलब होता है 2 एटम्स एंड हेंस कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इज CO2। सो दिस इज रॉन्ग। PCl5 में देयर आर 5 एटम्स, यहाँ पे क्लोराइड के साथ ट्राई एज अ वर्ड यूज किया है। ट्राई का मतलब होता है 3, जैसे ट्राइंगुलर सीरीज होती है स्पोर्ट्स में, या फिर ट्रायंगल होता है मैथ्स में। सिंपली ट्रायंगल का मतलब देयर आर 3 एंगल्स इन्वॉल्वड इन अ शेप। सिमिलरली यहाँ पे ट्राइक्लोराइड का मतलब होता है PCl3 इफ इट वाज पॉसिबल, बट इन दिस केस ट्राई की जगह अगर हम पेंटा लिख देते तो ये स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट हो जाती। तो दिस इन इटसेल्फ इज अ रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट एज ऑफ नाउ। 3 and 4, that means B option is correct here. Now for the 5th question, I have mentioned the solution on the next page. This is an NCERT end chapter question by the way. So just have a look at the solution. यहाँ पे बेसिकली आइसोटोप्स की बात हो रही है। एक ही एलिमेंट X है जिसके 2 सैंपल्स हैं, एक में मास 16 है, एक में मास 18 है। And if you see the bottoms are same, that means atomic number is same. They should be electrically neutral, obviously, as we discussed in the first question. Now what matters here is कि हम 16 वाले मास को प्रेफरेंस दें या 18 वाले मास को। That's the challenge. In the question हमने देखा कि उन्होंने मास ऑलरेडी दिया हुआ है। I'll just scroll up because normally we have to find the average mass. In this case, the average mass is given. That means we have to talk about the percentages of both the samples. अगर आप एक को X% मान लेते हो और दूसरे को Y% assume कर लेते हो, that will create a bit of a problem because there will be 2 variables involved in one linear equation, which is not possible to solve uniquely. So rather हम किसी एक को, let's say first sample को X% मान लें, तो simply second sample को हम 100 minus X% assume कर सकते हैं। For instance, हमें पता है कि एक sample 30% है और दूसरा सैंपल, मतलब देयर इज नो थर्ड सैंपल, तो दूसरे सैंपल को ऑब्वियसली 70% ही होना पड़ेगा। द एडिशन शुड बी इक्वल टू 100%। दैट इज द लॉजिक दैट वी आर यूजिंग हियर एंड दैट इज द लॉजिक यू सी ऑन द नेक्स्ट पेज एज वेल। दोनों सैंपल्स को हमने X% एंड 100 minus X% रिस्पेक्टिवली अज्यूम कर लिया है। नाउ इफ यू रिमेंबर द एवरेज फॉर्मूला फॉर सच थिंग्स जिसमें प्रोपोर्शंस इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, द सिंपल लॉजिक इज कि यू पिक अप द मास ऑफ वन एलिमेंट एंड मल्टीप्लाई इट विद इट्स proportion that is there, percentage basically. So 16 को हम X% से multiply करेंगे, which is 16 into X upon 100. Similarly, second element के लिए we'll go to 18, multiply by its percentage, 100 minus X upon 100 because we want to remove the percentage sign. So this is how the equation looks like. And हमने दोनों का mass add करा है। Remember हम average use कर रहे हैं और एवरेज हमें गिवन है क्वेश्चन में, सो वी कैन जस्ट इक्वेट इट टू व्हाटएवर इट इज गिवन। हमें फाइनल आंसर ऑलरेडी पता है, तो 16.2 कैन बी इक्वेटेड टू इट। नाउ इफ यू जस्ट सॉल्व दिस लीनियर इक्वेशन इन वन वेरिएबल, यू विल गेट सच अ स्टेटमेंट। ट्रांसपोज करो, फाइंड x, अल्टीमेटली यू विल गेट 90% फॉर द फर्स्ट सैंपल एंड हेंस सेकंड सैंपल को ऑब्वियसली 10% ही रखना पड़ेगा। सो दिस इज द फाइनल आंसर। अब इस क्वेश्चन को एक बार दोबारा देखते हैं। फाइनल आंसर में 90% आया फर्स्ट सैंपल का जिसका मास 16 था। और एवरेज मास 16.2 है। इससे हमें ये पहले ही हिंट मिल जाना चाहिए था कि हमारा फर्स्ट सैंपल डोमिनेंस प्ले कर रहा है, बिकॉज जब भी हम एवरेज निकालते हैं बेस्ड ऑन द प्रोपोर्शंस, अगर एक एलिमेंट बहुत ज्यादा हाईली डोमिनेटिंग है तो एवरेज उसी के नंबर की तरफ इंक्लाइंड होगी। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आप 10 और 20 की एवरेज निकालते हो, इट विल ऑलवेज बी द नंबर बिटवीन देम आइडियली। बट अगर आप सैंपल कुछ ऐसा क्रिएट कर देते हो कि 10 जैसे बहुत सारे नंबर्स हैं, लेट्स से देयर आर 3 नंबर्स ऑफ 10 एंड ओनली 1 नंबर ऑफ 20, तो एवरेज आपकी 15 नहीं आएगी, इट विल बी मोर इंक्लाइंड टुवर्ड्स द नंबर व्हिच इज डोमिनेंट। दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट हैपेंड हियर। सो जब आंसर आता है, पता चलता है कि x इज 90%, वी कैन एक्चुअली बी श्योर कि हमने बिल्कुल ठीक किया, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम इन सच अ सॉल्यूशन। So that's it for today's class. Make sure that in the next class also you go through all the concepts, all the questions entirely, and we'll see you in the next class.